What's up, guys? Today I have another knife review, and we're talking about the Boker Magnum series, and the model we're talking about is the Commander. Now, I have to say I was extremely pleasantly surprised with this knife. Recently, I reviewed this knife. This is a Max Edition Ferox, and for about 30 bucks, it's a pretty decent knife. It's not awesome, doesn't suck, somewhere in between. Nice little knife to throw in your bag if you don't want to use your expensive ones. But everything I said about this knife, things I like about it, things I don't like about it, I would definitely say that this knife is a better option. If you're looking for something in this price range, something that's kind of cool, not so expensive, maybe you want a new knife, but you don't have 100 bucks to shell out, you don't have 50 bucks to shell out, you're looking for a $30 knife, this is an awesome option. And I'm really excited to review it for you guys. So although this one's still cool, nothing wrong with it, there are some hits on it. There's only really one major hit on this knife that I don't like about it, and it has nothing to do with functionality, it has more to do with comfort, and we'll talk about that later. But anyway, like I said, this is the Boker Commander. Leave that in the background just to peek at while we're talking here. I put it back in the original packaging so you can see how you're gonna get it. Boker's been doing this thing with these seals for a while now. You can see safety seal. When they're shipping their stuff out, each knife is sealed up with these. It's almost like a tamper-proof thing, so you can see if your knife is factory fresh, and it's gonna have that new knife smell when you open it. And it's kind of hit or miss, depending on what dealer you get it from. You maybe order one and it comes completely sealed, and you're like, oh, that's cool. Or maybe you get one and it's kind of opened, and you go, hey, what the heck, man? Who opened my knife? Well, it's something to think about. When the dealers get a bunch of these knives, they might just want to open them up and make sure, the knife inside is what's supposed to be inside. So if you get one and it's already opened, don't freak out. I had someone recently ask me this question specifically. They said they got a Boker, not this knife, but a different Boker. And I think maybe they got an S2. And they do the same thing with the seal. And they're like, hey, what the heck? What's that about? I got it and it was open. The dealer that you bought it from, whatever internet site or whatever source you got it from, they just open it up and look at it and make sure it's what it's supposed to be. That's all, no big deal. So anyway, sleeve or box, don't need that. They come in these cool little tins. This is really an awesome thing if you're giving the knife as a gift. Personally, I don't care about the packaging that much. I get a little chuckle like, oh, this is really nice when I open it, but literally the second the knife comes out of the box, this stuff gets thrown away. No longer interested in it. Paperwork, registration, don't need to know about that stuff. So here's a knife. I grabbed this one just because it's khaki and this one's a brown. All right, so they have a similar color combination. All right, similar size, but of course they are completely different knives. Different blade shapes, different handle shapes, different handle materials, different texturing, different steel, different everything really. It's just they both happen to be a brown and black knife. Kind of look cool together. Nice little pair. Is like the slightly fatter brother to this. But anyway, actually, you know what this really reminds me of, this blade shape? Minus the milling in here, which is a really nice touch for a $30 knife. You're gonna be hard pressed to find milling. I mean, this is the kind of stuff you'll see on some of the $400 Microtechs out there. But anyway, this really was reminiscent to me of the stubby models of Emerson's. The stubby CQC versions. It really reminded me of that. But anyway, some specs on this. This is, the blade is 3 1/8 inches. It's a 440C stainless. The coating on here is actually kind of unique. It's I don't know if you could pick it up, it's black, but it's really more of a grayish black, and it's quite glossy. This is anthracite, and from what I understand, anthracite is a type of coal. It's more of a mineral. It's in the coal family, but it has a very high carbon content. I believe it's the highest of all the coals or coal-like minerals, and it's between 92 and 98% coal, or excuse me, between 92 and 98% carbon. And they put this special whatever coating for extra wear resistance and extra corrosion resistance. I have to say it's held up really nicely. For a cheap knife, it's got a really nice coating on it. Better than this coating, although this one's still holding up pretty good. I started using the serrated version, by the way. But not a whole lot of use on it, so it's not a great representation, but I can tell you from using this, just EDCing it, using it for some other cutting tasks, cut open a bunch of plastic straps for work, and 2 milk jugs. Just kind of broke them down for fun. Don't need to do that, but did it for fun because that's what we do. We play with our knives. And the coating's held up perfectly. I mean, there's hardly any rub marks in it even. So I don't know. New to me, anthracite. Pretty cool stuff. But anyway, you can see our blade. The grind it's a hollow ground blade, but it's slightly hollow ground. It's not as obvious. Of course, you know, if you've been around knives for a while, you can just kind of tilt the knife and the glare of the light will show you the grind, particularly in this area here. You can see if it doesn't just reflect back flat, but actually rolls up and down the blade, then you know it is hollow ground. Hollow ground meaning it's ground on a wheel, and the wheel is not flat, okay? So you get a, like an angled grind. So for anyone who's interested in that. Also, something I noticed, it's really, really subtle. Let me get the light right, but you can see a grind line right here, almost like a, it changed up top, like a Tanto. You can see that through the coating. It's right here, and it's on both sides, so it's not a mistake. There is a grind angle change there. It's very slight. If you use your tip of your fingernail, you could feel the change in angle right there. Ever so subtle. Nice deep swedge on this. Of course, it's not sharpened or anything. Having a wide stubby blade like this, you know, the point's nice, but it's not an acute point. Of course, it's not as pointy as the Ferox, but it's much more sturdy as far as really kind of digging in. If you were doing light pry work, you'd want more of a stubby blade like this. Okay, if you're gonna do a lot more piercing work, you'd want something that's a little bit more acute. But you know, 440 stainless on this. Edge retention's been really good. What I do with most of my knives is I'll use them until the edge goes dull. Until the edge is like I can rub it on my thumb and I'm not cutting myself. At that point, I will resharpen them, and usually I'll put them aside and, you know, wait for review. Just kind of depends, but I'll show you after just touching this up. It really did not take a whole bunch to touch this up. Do a little cut for you. 440C. Some people laugh at it. Oh man, what are you, living in the 90s? 440C is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Cut's fine. This is not stropped or anything. This is just touched up. 1000 grit stone. It's got kind of a toothy edge, but it works good. I can get nice. My old curly cues, haven't done that in a while. See if I can get that going here. Nope, not quite that sharp. Nah, it's not up to curly cue status, but you can certainly slice through paper, so it doesn't take much to resharpen this. 440C is not anything to laugh at if it's properly heat treated. It's not a bad steel. Been happy with it for most of my life. I've had countless knives with 440C, so very happy with that. Overall length is 7 3/4 inches. It is kind of a chunky knife because of the you know, the metal frame. You can see in there it's not milled out or anything, so it's solid. You know, you have a solid liner side under the scale, and then of course your frame lock side. Talking 5.7 ounces on this. Although it doesn't feel like a big hunk of steel or anything, but you can definitely feel it. Of course, it's a lot lighter than the Ferox. Okay, so if you're one of those lightweight people, then this would be a better option. But if you don't mind a little bit of heft, this is certainly a much more sturdy knife. I feel more confident using this harder than I would the Ferox. I mean, simply because of the fact that the lock's a little bit stronger. No, it's a lot stronger. Not just because it's a frame lock versus a liner, but this happens to be a particularly thin liner, and this happens to have a particularly nice lockup. I don't know if this is a, when you talk about cheaper knives, you get into hit or miss type stuff where I can do a knife review on something, on a real cheap knife, and it can have a great lockup, and maybe you get one and it has a horrible lockup, or vice versa. I'm like, you know what, it's a great knife, but I don't know, it's got some blade play and stuff right out of the box, and you may get one that's perfect. So it's a little bit more inconsistent with the quality, but I can tell you the lockup is great on this. All right, I'm never ever concerned with percentages of lockups. There's a lot of talk, and you know, there's a lot of very smart educational videos about the percentage of lockup. People are concerned about things like, you know, 100% lockup. Now that sounds great. Oh, of course, I want 100% lockup. I don't want it to not be perfectly locked. What people are talking about is when the liner, or the, in this case, frame lock, goes completely over. Okay, so it can no longer move. Some people don't like that. Some people like an early lockup. Some people like a late lockup. Whatever. I'll tell you what I like. I like when I open my folder and it locks and it doesn't wiggle, doesn't make any noise, and there's no blade play. That's all I'm concerned with. It really is my only concern. I'm not looking at this. I'm not kidding when I said someone sent me a message and they said, you know, I really like this particular knife, and I think it was I don't know if it was a liner lock or a frame lock, but they said I like it. Everything about it is awesome. I went to my the knife shop that's by me. Is actually a military surplus shop, and they happen to have the knife. And he's like, I picked it up, and the first thing I did was I looked at the lock, and it had like I swear, I'm not kidding you, he said it was a 17.5% lockup. How in the world can you figure that out? Anyway, of course, I'm not going to name who this person was, but yeah, I wrote a very nice, polite message back. I said, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Don't focus on stuff like that so much. All right, it's really such a minor thing, in my opinion. I've had thousands of knives pass through my hand. I've personally owned hundreds and hundreds of knives. Lots of liner locks, lots of frame locks. I've only had maybe one or two ever fail on me during normal use. It's a rare occasion that a decent knife from a known company fails. Don't worry about stuff like that. Don't get hung up over those details. Just my opinion. But anyway, yeah, the lockup is awesome. Okay, it's ambidextrous thumb studs, which is pretty standard. And you can see here that they are thumb studs. They're not just a blade stop, it's just a separate blade stop in here. On the spine, and it works very nicely. You can see it is a flow-through design here, a couple standoffs, so it won't collect lint as much as some of the enclosed designs. If I didn't already say it, very reminiscent blade shape of the Emerson stubby CQC models. Just something I thought of a lot and kind of laughed at. It's kind of the poor man stubby CQC, but that's just me. Although, of course, the blade to handle ratio is a lot different than a stubby. A stubby comes down to like here. It's like ridiculous. Doesn't look like the blade fits that handle, but of course they meet certain law and requirements for different states for blades to be less than a certain length, which is also ridiculous. But anyway, as I was saying, the thumb studs are ambidextrous. Of course, it's a manual opening knife. As I said, any knife with a thumb stud, just a little bit of practice, you can get to flick out just as fast as your assisted opening knives and your automatic knives. So you don't always need something crazy. You can have a lot of fun. In fact, I always prefer a manual knife over an assisted knife if I have the choice. I just am not an assisted knife kind of guy. I'd rather have the choice to open it slowly if I wanted to. But it is ambidextrous. You can open it with the left hand quite easily. I've been using the knives a little bit more lately and trying to figure out different ways to close it because I'm righty. It's awkward for me to close my left hand, and I watch a lot of Mr. Jeff Tough Thumbs, and he opens his knives with his left hand. I guess because he's holding his camera with his right. Or he just likes to use his left hand, but he does a lot of that. And I kind of picked up on that using the pointer finger or the middle finger to disengage the liner locks and frame locks, although he's dealing mostly with frame locks. But yeah, so I'm practicing my left hand a little bit more, just good to be versatile. So it works with both hands. A little bit of a hit. The design on the thumb stud is a little bit on the uncomfortable side. It's not horrible or anything, it's just the pyramid style is a little bit pointy. And I can tell just a little bit of thumb wear, just a little bit of soreness, because of course, like most of us knife nuts, I love to play with my knives and flicking them open and shut and constantly just, rubbing on my finger there. If it's going to be a little bit pointy, I'll know it because I'll get a little bit sore. Okay, see a little indentation there. But, placement's good, works great, it's very easy to use. So, what else? The texturing is awesome. It's a honeycomb pattern on this G10. I went with the brown because it's color. I'm sick and tired of black knives. Black knives with black blades, black knives with silver blades, black knives with satin finish, black knives mirror polish finish, black knives with stone wash finish. 50 different types of black coatings, 50 different types of black handle material. I want to get some color in my life, I still love black knives. Black knives are cool and, very tactical, and yeah, I'll still own black knives, but for now I like a little bit of color. I like the military stuff. That's awesome. The khakis and coyote browns and OD greens and digital camo. Awesome, great, whatever. But I also like some of the vibrant stuff Spyderco puts out, some of the limited runs. The maroon, I think it's the maroon G10 on the UK PK is an awesome color. It's a color. I'm not used to seeing color on knives. It's all black and silver. It's kind of like cars, How many silver cars can you see on the road? It just gets boring after a while. Anyway, my rant and raving about black knives. Decent sized lanyard hole on this one. Told you not really rocking a lanyard lately. But also the jimping is kind of deep, but very unfunctional. It's not a problem for me, but if you're one of those people that just freak out about it, you're not gonna like this. It doesn't do anything for grip. Just kind of there. Rounded. It's deep, but it's rounded. So it's not doing a whole lot for you. Pocket clip on this one is very functional. You can see it comes to kind of a point. This is one of the only, well, it's kind of a hit. It's cosmetic to me. But the first thing is, it's not a huge issue to me, but a lot of you guys out there like your deep concealed clips and stuff like that. This is mounted a little bit low, so you have this much knife sticking out of your pocket. It's great to easily access it, but you know, if you want your knife deeper in the pocket, this is not maybe the model for you. You can see there is quite a bit of chunk hanging out there. Also, for some reason, it just, the tension is great and everything, and it's nice and tight, but it kind of just looks a little bit thrown on there. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's half covering this hole, or maybe because the edge here looks like it's almost going past that cutout, you know, for the lock. Something about it just seems kind of just there. I don't know why they couldn't just bring it up and just maybe have a slightly different clip design, so where it's mounted up high here. I don't know, I'd say most of us would prefer a higher mounted clip than a lower mounted clip. Of course, most of us prefer a tip-up carry, and this, unfortunately, is only a tip-down carry knife, and there's no option to swap it. So, right-hand tip-down only. I know that stinks for a lot of you guys. Some of you guys got to get over that. I don't have to tell you how to carry your knives, but you're really, really limiting yourself to be like, only tip up. That's all I do. Okay, just saying, missing out on a lot of cool knives out there. It's good being versatile. But, yeah, I don't know. It just seems a little just there. I don't know why they couldn't mount. Like, maybe they had a bunch of these clips left, and they're like, all right, that's what we got. Bob, what we got in the back? We got those clips that, oh, all right, we'll just slap them on there. That's just kind of the feel that I get with this. But, you know what? Totally functional. Works great. Not a problem for me. Now, on to the biggest hit on this knife. The biggest thing I did not like about this knife, and this is some stuff that you will only find out in a knife review. You will not read about this on a website. You will not read about this on the company, you know, the manufacturer's website, at a dealer's website to order it. This is why you watch knife reviews, for this information right here. And that is that it is a little uncomfortable when you choke up. If you're holding this knife up high like this, you get a pretty good hot spot right in here, in the, you know, the section, the middle knuckle, I guess, of your pointer finger, because of the extension out on the lock bar. All right, now if you get this is pretty straight down on the top of this knife, and you can see how much that sticks out a little bit. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but when you're gripping this knife up here, okay, it digs in enough where you really know. You take your knife out to open your mail, you're not gonna know about this problem. But if you're getting out there and you're using your knives like I've been trying to do with testing these knives, and you're cutting cardboard all day, and you're cutting plastic, and you're getting out there and you're trying to do things with your knives, you're gonna go, holy crap, my finger's sore. And that's what happened with this one. This is the one biggest thing or dislike about this knife, is that you get a hot spot from this lock bar when you're holding it up high, okay, when you're choking up on the blade a little bit. If you naturally grab the blade down just a little bit, even a half an inch lower, it's not a problem. You don't feel it at all. This grip, amazing, feels great. Love the texture, love it. Don't like that. Love it? What the heck? Awesome? Ow. And that's the problem here. It's right there. It's a minor thing. But you know what? With hard use, it's something I notice, and it can't go unsaid, because that's important. That's the information you guys want to know. That's the information you're getting out of watching a knife review as opposed to reading specs on the website. Reverse grip is perfect, okay? And because of this, you know, handle style on the butt end, of course the thumb just rests nicely on here. Now when you hold it like this, I'm not feeling a whole lot of uncomfortness with the pinky area. It's totally fine like this. It's only when you're holding it like this, and it's holding with the finger up here in the choil as much as possible, and you're really choking up on this blade. That's when it's a little bit uncomfortable if you're using it, you know, for a long duration of time. So hardware on here, you can see is Torx. Just, I mean, it's pretty standard now. You see a lot of Torx. You'll still see some hex stuff every now and then, but the two body screws with the standoffs are also Torx. Obviously a different size than the pivot, slightly larger. That's common. And I don't know, that's pretty much it. You know, for 30 bucks, it is, I think it's a better option than this. I like this. This is not a bad knife. This is actually a pretty cool knife. But I really like this one a lot more. So I want to give you guys that review. I want to give you this option if you are in the market for a $30 knife. It's really, really a cool one. I like the, you know, the cutout here, the milling. Like I said, it's a really nice touch you don't normally see in a you know, lower price range of knives. So pretty cool. So that's pretty much it. I want this texture in a lot more knives. This Honeycomb G10, it's perfect. I really like it. I'd love to see this on a lot more stuff. I have to now look back and see if Boker has other models in the Magnum line that sport something that's similar to this, or even in their other series of knife models, because I'm a huge fan of it. Seriously, this would be a home run if this wasn't an issue and the clip was a tip up. I would say this is probably one of my favorite knives of the year. But those two little things, although they're little, we knife people can get picky sometimes, and you go, I don't know. But definitely really cool, and I still think it's a poor man's version of a stubby CQC Emerson, any of the CQC models. But that's it. That's my review of the Boker Magnum Commander. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and there's my phone. So that means my boss is texting me, so I have to go get it. It's a good thing it's the end of the video. And I won't edit this out because I'm too lazy. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, guys.